women are actually using science to help them have babies more than ever before. A new report actually shows more than 60,000 babies were born in 2012 using in vitro fertilization. That's 1.5% of all births.
That's pretty incredible.
The Center for Advanced Reproductive Services at UConn is the largest center for IVF in Connecticut. It's known for its high success rates. So we went there to learn about the latest advancements that are now making it easier for people to create a family.
Take a look.
This is little Will, and he is 14 months old.
Oh my
he is
gosh.
IVF baby number 2.
Stephanie Hoy's dream of becoming a mom came true twice thanks to the Center for Advanced Reproductive Services at UConn in Farmington. Baby Will also has a big brother, 4-year-old Grady.
If it weren't for the center, I wouldn't have these 2 boys. What they do here is incredible.
Testing showed Stephanie and her husband had only a 2% chance of conceiving naturally.
Once it was clear that this is what we needed to do, then I was on a mission to do this, as I think a lot of women are. When you are trying to have a baby, you are willing to do whatever you have to do to have that baby. And I just felt that this was the absolute best place. I felt so lucky that a center of this caliber was right here in Connecticut.
We're the largest program in Connecticut, and we're one of the larger programs in the Northeast. We have very, very good, very high success rates.
But it's not all about the numbers here. The center has a full-time psychologist to help couples through what can be an emotional roller coaster.
They're so wonderful about helping you through the process. And I mean, the doctors, the nurses, everyone here. So it's such a big deal, but they help you through it, so it becomes it's not as overwhelming as you would think it would be.
For Stephanie, the journey began with taking some injections to help her produce eggs.
The way that we do IVF now is we stimulate the female with injections of fertility medications. So typically what happens, it's a once a day, sometimes twice a day injection that the patient typically starts taking on the second day of her cycle, and then she takes those shots for about 8 to 10 days. Very similar to what a diabetic would do with insulin. So it's a very tiny needle that's given subcutaneous into the abdominal wall, not a painful process.
Once they harvest the eggs, the advancements in technology make the actual procedure of in vitro fertilization pretty simple. Eggs and sperm are paired in a lab dish, embryos are formed, and doctors choose the healthiest ones to transfer to the mother. This embryo became Will. Extra embryos can be frozen to use for future pregnancies.
It takes about 10 to 15 minutes to do the egg retrieval. And then the patient hangs out with us maybe 45 minutes or an hour just till the anesthesia wears off, and then they go home. Just to give you a sense of the level of pain, I mean, it's virtually never that we have to send someone home with pain medications.
The hardest part is the 9 to 12 days of waiting to see if it worked.
You're just hoping and praying, and there's so much emotion involved. You've been through so much to get there.
Stephanie is a great story. Both times she conceived on the first try.
More and more the advancements that are being made, families are that much more of a reality for women.
Oh my gosh, the technology is incredible, and the success rates are incredible. I mean, for me to do it and have success on my first try, and then we had frozen embryos, and so my second pregnancy was one of those frozen embryos. So I really only truly went through one fresh cycle of IVF.
The frozen embryos are kept right here at the center. I'm standing in a room with literally thousands of them. And if a woman decides to go through another IVF cycle down the road, she can use these frozen embryos. It's less expensive, easier on her body, and the success rate is the same or even better.
When I first started doing this, we would have a success. We'd have maybe on a weekly basis, so we'd have 1 pregnancy a week. Today, every day between the 5 of us working here, we'll have 8 to 10 positive pregnancy results every single day.
And the days of lots of multiples are over. Advancements allow doctors to implant fewer embryos, usually no more than 2, and they can almost always use a husband's sperm, which is stored here.
If there's some problems with sperm production, if the male has very low sperm counts, or in some cases produces no sperm at all, but does have some sperm in the testicle, we can work with our urology colleagues, and they can actually retrieve sperm directly from the testicle, and then using this technique called ICSI, can inject a single sperm at each egg. So these people who in the past, there's no way they could have had a child, now they can actually have children quite successfully.
The one thing technology has not fixed?
It's very much age dependent. So the younger a female, the much more likely it is to be successful. So if you look at someone in her late 20s, early 30s, a success rate in the 50 percentile range or even higher is not unheard of. On the other hand, when you're working with someone 42, 43, unfortunately success rates are are dramatically lower. They may be in the 15 to 20% range. So age is probably the biggest mitigating factor.
Stephanie acted early, and she's so happy she did.
I love telling people about my experience because I'm a 2 for 2. You know, I went through 2 cycles and I got 2 healthy babies. And it's incredible. I mean, to me, it's just miraculous what they do here.
All right. So you can put the eggs away when you're young, and then you can, let's say you want to wait 10 years, the eggs will still be there, and then 10 years later you can go
You
and put
could
them.
do that. In fact, they recommend that, you know, if you think you're going to need to hold off for some reason, you would be better off actually having your eggs frozen, because a young woman's eggs are more viable.
That's incredible.
Now, IVF, of course, can be expensive, but there's actually an insurance mandate in Connecticut that says a woman is entitled to 3 artificial inseminations and 2 cycles of IVF. That ends on her 40th birthday. The center assigns each couple a financial services rep to help you through this whole process. They make it very easy. We have a link to their site for more information, and there's actually free info sessions coming up, so you can go to the center and learn.
That's terrific. I'm glad that insurance is covering it as well.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to be back with the